from Nigeria and Africa United, and the anchor of Nigeria now at ONN, and the Nightingale Radio International. I am a die-hard Nigerian and a die-hard Pan-African. I call on my people, the people of Nigeria, to wake up, stand up, get up for their right. For if you know what right is what, you would look and fight for yours right here on earth, where you need it to live and thrive, and stand up to the bullies who survive on violation and taking it away from you, from us, as individuals, groups, and government. Right, otherwise known as dominion, which is synonymous with life, is God's greatest gift to mankind, which He is expected to guard jealously and defend fiercely against all forms of violation, disregard, and abuse. Why are we not standing for ours, knowing fully well that we're going to keep us down of how we utilize this God-given right? Yes, God's greatest gift to mankind. Arise selflessly and patriotically. So help us God. Yes.
It is an exciting moment for the ONN as it reaches its 2 million views milestone. We specially thank our associates, supporters, fans, viewers, and listeners from Nigeria, across Africa, the United States, and around the world who like, share, and comment on our messages of peace through justice. We count on you to continue supporting us as we grow and expand our reach. For those who are new to our YouTube channel, we invite you to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button once you locate at ONN on Channel 1. We love you all.
Smart Madu Ajaya, convener of Open Nigeria, and Africa Unite speaking about rights and freedom for the Nigerian people. Hash viral.
Basic human rights and the right to the citizenship of Nigeria. In everlasting light will be ignited across the land, and no oppressor or group of oppressors will ever rise again to hold them captive and hostage like they are being held today. Yes, I see this coming to pass. We are getting there. It's a long, total journey, but it must happen. And I pray that it happens sooner than later, and that it happens in my lifetime.
It is in the heart and minds of the Middle Belt peoples. That is why Southern Kebbi is part of the Middle Belt. Southern Borno is part of the Middle Belt. Southern Adamawa is part of the Middle Belt. Southern Kaduna is also part of the Middle Belt. Anybody that was never conquered by the Fulanis is a Middle Belt person.
So what's your grounds with the Fulanis?
No grounds, except we reject forcible conquest, the ideology of conquest, hiding under the garb of religion, the ideology of hegemony, the ideology of dispossession, trying to take over our land by force, is totally unacceptable to us, because our ancestors were never conquered. That is why we're Middle Belt. And, and we will never be conquered. We reject that. It is not a grouse. When you use the word grouse, I think you don't do justice to it.
Because you talk about the herdsmen.
Yes.
I mean, in recent times, we've also seen even Fulani ethnic groupings suffer some of this violence. In Sokoto State, for instance, the people who were attacked were Fulani. In Zamfara State, for instance, the people who were also attacked, just a moment, the people who were attacked were also Fulanis. In Kebbi State, where we also understand that there is a vibrant farmer Fulani population, they have also suffered some violence from the so-called herdsmen. So can we really say it's about an ethnic group, or is it, something that we're yet to really put a finger on?
To be honest with you, I use the word Fulani as a generic term. But we have armed militias, many of them from foreign lands. When you speak Hausa, and I speak Hausa like a native, I speak it better than my maternal language, okay? And when somebody opens their mouth, you know precisely what kind of Hausa they have. Whether it is Hausa Kano, Hausa Zaria, Hausa Zazo, Hausa Katsina, Hausa Sokoto. And when you know Hausa Niger, Hausa Mali, you know it. Many of these people are foreigners. We call them Fulanis because that is what they call themselves. And but I think this is more than just Fulanis. But I think you are, if I may respectfully disagree with you, the killings in Zamfara ethnic, it is actually Fulanis killing normal Habbe Hausa people, indigenous Hausa people. And Birningwari, majority of them are Muslims, but they are Bagi people. Birningwari, the city of the Bagi.
In Sokoto?
Farmers that are being attacked.
In Kebbi.
In Kebbi, the same thing.
The farmers who are sometimes, and most times, Fulani as well.
Have you ever come across a Fulani farmer? I think you're making this up more. There's no such thing as a Fulani farmer. There's no such thing in the geomorphology of rural
There are
society.
Fulani people who are settled. There are Fulani people who own land in this country, aren't there?
There are extremely few, and we don't really. You can call them Fulanis, but Fulani who have lost their language and so on and so forth, we hardly even refer to them as Fulanis. We hardly ever refer to them as Fulanis. The real Fulanis we talk about are the pastoralists. There are settled Fulanis, of course, but many of them are clerics, Islamic clerics. They are teachers, they are scholars, and they are the aristocracy, by the way. They are the aristocracy. So those of them who are farmers are an extremely small population. Extremely small population.
But they exist nonetheless.
I have been...
They exist nonetheless.
They do exist.
This is from research done by other journalists. I mean, I haven't had the privilege of doing the research myself,
yes.
But I have read from other journalists who they have been to those places and they can identify Fulani population who are farmers and have also faced this crisis of having to deal with the so-called herdsmen.
But we're talking in basic general terms. What's the percentage of those people that are actually farmers? I don't dispute. Just like, in fact, there are Biron people, there are Tiv people who actually earn cattle. And I wouldn't for that purpose, therefore, say that Middle Belt peoples are also pastoralists and so on and so forth. I mean, we should, be very precise, I think, in the social categorization of these people. Yes, indeed, there's nothing wrong. There would be some small percentage of Fulanis who own farms. And then there wouldn't be anything wrong with that. But the issue, and women of conscience must reject it. We must draw a red line beyond which we will not longer accept it. And this nonsense has got to stop now. We reject it in total. And the call for restructuring is just right, because if this thing is going on with such a warped federal structure that we have, then it is better to have a proper federal system so that all the ethnic so-called minorities, and the Middle Belt are not minorities, because we've done some statistics, there are up to 40 million people They're one of the largest groups in this country. As a group, let these people have the right to choose through a referendum which region they want to belong to. So people that want to come together, that believe in the secular order of the state, together in their own region, under their own government
it's
and their
very
own
interesting
laws.
you use the word civilized. And some people will
Yes.
say they take exception to that because for them, Sharia is civilization and they don't see anything wrong with it. Some countries have practiced it successfully.
Now, I've told of Wahhabi ideology from Saudi Arabia. That is barbaric and totally...
With due respect, it is, they're allowed to choose whatever.
It is very barbaric. They have no rights with women.
But you cannot condemn what they have chosen. It is their way of life. It is their religion. It is what they believe in. You cannot say that it is barbaric. It is not...
No, Maope, don't get me wrong. I lived in the Arab world. I lived in Tunis. I traveled through Egypt, through Morocco. I supervised projects in those countries. I speak some Arabic myself. And Wahhabi Islam is not universal Islam. It is Islam particular to a part of the world. It is not the same as Turkey. You go to Turkey and you feel that you are among civilized people. When you go to Saudi Arabia, you feel you are among barbarians. I'm sorry. That is what I will never withdraw those words.
Ambassador of Israel.
All right.
interesting you say
All
people
right.
of the middle
Let's cut this out right now for a second. Yeah, let's cut it out for a second. Yes. Hey, good evening from Houston, Texas, United States of America. This is Smart Mado Ajaja, the convener of Open Nigeria and Africa Unite, and the anchor of Nigeria Now. Global matters are rising. Good morning, Africa, and reggae at its best on NN. It's a beautiful day here today, like a summer day. Beautiful. We had an initial broadcast, a young man that I interviewed, a young youth leader that is trying to organize his peers. Unfortunately, we did not have a good flow of communication. You know, Nigerians will always be given the worst of everything. So there was a huge connection problem. So we did the best we could to get that interview through, but not to my expectation. It was such a great interview, but the communication was bad, so bad. Anyway, so this is what we are here. I'm here on the second edition of our today's broadcast. You see, the world is going through a change. The world actually has changed forever. We are now walking towards a new world order. War among Israel and the United States on one side and Iran on the other side. Yes, this whole thing started so many years ago. It's been like an age-long problem that has been going on in that Middle East that just reached this crescendo. It had to explode 47 years after. Yes, President Donald Trump decided to, throw in something there. And let's see what comes out of it. Yes, what we are talking about now is, today, is the business of Africa in this whole thing. They have made so many speeches have been made. Speeches by the Iranians, speeches by the American president and the Americans, speeches by the Israelis. No reference has been made to Africa. But you know what? In Africa, especially Nigeria, where I come from, there has been a series of protests. Yes, protests, especially coming from the extreme Islamic north of Nigeria. Yes, protests coming from there against the killing of Ali Khamenei, the Ayatollah, the immediate past Ayatollah of Iran. Now the question is, what is our business? Africa has more problems than anywhere on earth. And all the problems were not created by us. I would think that we Africans should focus on addressing our challenges than putting our hands in something. And the funny thing is that a lot of Nigerians, especially from that north of Nigeria, has been an Achilles heel. You just heard this short presentation where that young journalist, very nasty, was interviewing somebody else. I don't know, maybe she's just being mischievous and not facing the fact. That's not journalism. She knows the truth about what is taking place in Nigeria, but she just chose to be nasty. Whatever say her name is, she's nasty, really nasty. Yes, she's not worthy to be sitting down there interviewing anybody with the kind of nastiness that she has. Is it journalism? I don't know, because I'm not going to. I've taken a position as far as I'm concerned about Nigeria. I'm not going to be fair to those who are oppressing our people, killing our people. And then these people are aligned with Iran. That is the basis for their protest. Yeah, their chief trainer is gone. The man who supplies them arms is gone. The rogue government in Iran is about gone. Yes, gone. And why are they protesting? They are protesting because they are Muslims. Are they the only Muslims in the world? Why is it that the Kuwaitis are not taking side with them? Why is it that the Saudi Arabians are not taking side with them? Why is it that Africa is the one taking side with them? These people who messed up our mind, who told us that everything about our life, our poverty, and how everything was created by Allah. We should not be stupid. Yes, and the people who sponsor this protest in the north of Nigeria are well known. Yeah, they are led by this bastard they call Saad Abubakar, the Satan in Sokoto. Yeah, they are the ones, the hotbed of terrorism in Nigeria. Nigerians should be uniting to decisively deal with them, like the people in Central African Republic dealt with them and drove them out of their country. Yes, they have an agenda. It's a global agenda. Yes, that they want to make Nigeria their home. They want to seize Nigeria by force. I'm going to play back that interview again so you hear that man speaking. Yes, that is exactly what is taking place. So they lost Khamenei. Khamenei has been providing military training for them, arming them to come and do ethnic genocide in Nigeria so they can establish their Islamic State. And their agenda is bigger than Nigeria. But Nigeria is so strategic. Yeah, the conquest of Nigeria is so strategic to their expansionist foolishness. They want, Africa is actually what they want. Because you look, they from Congo into Central African Republic, down to Mauritania and all that. It's been a systematic conquest that they have been going through. They have been taking the whole place. They have destabilized the entire Sahel. Yes, no thanks to Obama helped them, speed up the whole thing with the invasion of Libya. Obama and Nicolas Sarkozy of France, what they did to destabilize Libya and the whole of the Sahel into all this, the whole of the West African sub-region is suffering the consequences. Yes, so Donald Trump, I don't care what anybody says about him. It's not like I like him like that. I didn't vote for him in the last election, but Donald Trump is behaving like one who truly wants peace. Yes, I don't want to believe that his intention is entirely to take mineral resources from Africa, from Nigeria specifically. Yes, but countries align, countries trade, countries have mutual interest. So if Donald Trump or the United States want anything from Nigeria, what is wrong if Nigeria gives it? Especially when they give it and their arrangement, the agreement, that the bilateral relationship that they have is a win-win for the two countries. So what? African countries not trading with China. China is the worst right now operating in that. China is part of what is happening in Nigeria. China is sponsoring terrorism in the north of Nigeria. Zamfara, who is mining the gold there? These idiots don't talk about it. They don't think, because the money is flowing directly into their pockets, not into the pockets of the Nigerian nation. So they need to shut up their mouth. Now, if you are a Nigerian, if you are an African who has been so blind by religion, by Islam, it's time for you to wake up. Yes, Islam did so much bad to some Africans that they want to be more Arabs than Africans. Yes, 700 years of Arab slavery, 700 years of Arab slavery took our people across the Sahara down to the Arab world, did the worst of bastardization on them, castrated all the males, turned the women into sex slaves. Our people don't remember that. They don't remember that. They forget that history. Africans forget their history. Then after that, 400 years of European slavery, 400 years, we forget all that. What kind of a people are we? We are fighting the war. We are protesting for Iran. For what? Iran has been a rogue country under these damn Khamenis. They have been destroying that whole place. They don't want peace. They are just like the Fulanis in Nigeria. They don't want peace. They want to control everything. Look at a country, a people, a stupid system that is investing a lot in armament, acquiring armament. The economy is unattended. The economy is one of the worst on earth. And you stand up and say you are a Muslim, and you will shout Allahu Akbar. You will shout that who is Khamenei? He has a terrible history. See, since 1900 that he came to power, what appreciable impact has the economy of Iran made? Why is it that they don't want peace? Why is it they don't like peace? What is it? They want to control Africa. Yes, so you want to make it easy for them to control Africa. Listen to this one more time.
All south. Yes. You don't talk about the north at all. First and foremost, those people who say there is no such region as the Middle Belt, those people who claim the Middle Belt are those who are trying to break up the northern region and divide us even further. How do you react to that?
Well, those people are living in their own illusions. The North ceased to exist a long time ago. It ceased to exist with political Sharia, what President Olusegun Obasanjo called political Sharia. The Old North no longer exists. The Middle Belt is not just about geography. The Middle Belt is an identity. The Middle Belt is about history. It is about a people who were never conquered. Never conquered by jihad, never conquered by Fulani Caliphate, and they don't wish to be conquered and will never be conquered by that. We've decided that we will realign our destiny with the South. The South have not burned out our homes and our farms, so we align with those who share the same views as us, because we were never conquered. We were never at all conquered. That is why we are the Middle Belt. And the Middle Belt is like the English Constitution. It is in the heart and minds of the Middle Belt peoples. That is why Southern Kebbi is part of the Middle Belt. Southern Borno is part of the Middle Belt. Southern Adamawa is part of the Middle Belt. Southern Kaduna is also part of the Middle Belt. Anybody that was never conquered by the Fulanis is a Middle Belt person.
What's your grounds with the Fulanis?
No grounds, except we reject forcible conquest, the ideology of conquest, hiding under the garb of religion, the ideology of hegemony, the ideology of dispossession, trying to take over our land by force, is totally unacceptable to us, because our ancestors were never conquered. That is why we are Middle Belt. And, and we will never be conquered. We reject that. It is not a grouse. When you use the word grouse, I think you don't do justice to it.
Because you talk about the herdsmen.
Yes.
I mean, in recent times, we've also seen even Fulani ethnic groupings suffer some of this violence. In Sokoto State, for instance, the people who were attacked were Fulani. In Zamfara State, for instance, the people who were also attacked. Just a moment. The people who were attacked were also Fulanis. In Kebbi State, where we also understand that there is a vibrant farmer Fulani population, they have also suffered some violence from these so-called herdsmen. So can we really say it's about an ethnic group, or is it, something that we're yet to really put a finger on?
To be honest with you, I use the word Fulani as a generic term, but we have armed militias, many of them from foreign lands. When you speak Hausa, and I speak Hausa like a native, I speak it better than my maternal language, okay? And when somebody opens their mouth, you know precisely what kind of Hausa they have. Whether it is Hausan Kano, Hausan Zaria, Hausan Zazo, Hausan Katsina, Hausan Sokoto. And when you know Hausan Niger, Hausan Mali, you know it. Many of these people are foreigners. We call them Fulanis because that is what they call themselves. And but I think this is more than just Fulanis. But I think you are, if I may respectfully disagree with you, the killings in Zamfara ethnic It is actually Fulanis killing normal Habbe Hausa people, indigenous Hausa people. And Birningwari, majority of them are Muslims, but they are Bagi people. Birningwari, the city of the Bagi.
In Sokoto?
In Sokoto, it is mostly the farmers that are being attacked.
In Kebbi?
In Kebbi, the same thing.
The farmers who are sometimes and most times Fulani as well.
Have you ever come across a Fulani farmer? I think you're making this up, Mope. There's no such thing as a Fulani farmer. There's no such thing in the geomorphology of rural
There are
society.
Fulani people who are settled. There are Fulani people who own land in this country, aren't there?
There are extremely few, and we don't really. You can call them Fulanis, but Fulani Ngida who have lost their language and so on and so forth, we hardly even refer to them as Fulanis. We hardly ever refer to them as Fulanis. The real Fulanis we talk about are the pastoralists. There are settled Fulanis, of course, but many of them are clerics, Islamic clerics. They are teachers, they are scholars, and they are the aristocracy, by the way. They are the aristocracy. So those of them who are farmers are an extremely small population. Extremely small population.
But they exist nonetheless.
I have been...
They exist nonetheless.
They do exist.
This is from research done by other journalists. I mean, I haven't had the privilege of doing the research myself,
Yes.
but I have read from other journalists who they have been to those places and they can identify Fulani population who are farmers and have also faced this crisis of having to deal with the so-called herdsmen.
But we are talking in basic general terms. What's the percentage of those people that are actually farmers? I don't dispute. Just like, in fact, there are Biron people, there are Tiv people who actually earn cattle. And I wouldn't for that purpose, therefore, say that middle belt peoples are also pastoralists and so on and so forth. I mean, we should, be very precise, I think, in the social categorization of these people. Yes, indeed, there's nothing wrong. There would be some small percentage of Fulanis who own farms. And then there wouldn't be anything wrong with that. But the issue we have is with this ethnic cleansing that is going on. All men and women of conscience must reject it. We must draw a red line beyond which we will not longer accept it. And this nonsense has got to stop now. We reject it in total. And the call for restructuring is just right, because if this thing is going on with such a warped federal structure that we have, then it is better to have a proper federal system so that all the ethnic so-called minorities, and the Middle Belt are not minorities, because we've done some statistics, they're up to 40 million people. They're one of the largest groups in this country. As a group, let these people have the right to choose through a referendum which region they want to belong to. So people that want to come together, that believe in the secular order of the state, that believe in humanity, that believe in social justice, can come together. Those who want to introduce the Wahhabi ideology from Saudi Arabia are free to do so, chopping people's heads and chopping their arms. That should be their goddamn business. But people who want to live in a civilized community should be free to come together in their own region, under their own government and their own laws.
It's very interesting you use the word civilized. And some people were saying they take exception to that because
they have no right to take any exception to that because they are barbaric and uncivilized. What's wrong with this girl? What's wrong with her? They take exception to killing people, to murdering people, to chopping off people's hands, to be massacring people. Is she okay? She doesn't sound like she's okay.
Then Sharia is civilization, and they...
Sharia is darkness. Total darkness. What kind of journalist is this? This is the kind of nasty things that I don't want to be hearing from Nigeria. Well, she wants to be balanced, and she sees what is taking place, how much blood is being spilled every day by these animals, and she's saying that that is civilization. They have no right to practice that civilization on the soil of Nigeria. We are indigenous people. We are humanists. We are not animals. We don't chop off people's hands and heads for violating laws. We punish them in a manner that they will come out. If it is worth capital punishment, yes, we talk about it, we deliberate it, We go through a process. They have no right. Look at the goddamn Satan in Sokoto, who says he has no even, he doesn't have respect for the Nigerian constitution. That when they have a reason to use capital punishment, they don't look back. They want to insult Prophet Muhammad. It's capital punishment. So Nigeria has a law. How come they violate the laws of Nigeria with impunity and expect all of us to keep quiet? And this idiot is defending it. What kind of journalist is she? What kind of nonsense is that? Really, what kind of nonsense is that? Yeah, this is the kind of yellow journalism that they practice in Nigeria that makes me sick. So sick.
Anything wrong with it? Some countries have practiced it successfully.
I've told her Wahhabi ideology is from Saudi Arabia. That is barbaric and totally...
With due respect, it is, they're allowed to choose whatever.
It is very barbaric.
They are allowed.
Women,
but you cannot condemn what they have chosen. It is their way.
Yes,
of life.
it's condemnable because it's barbaric. It's condemnable. It's objectionable. It's unacceptable. And so condemnable. What is wrong? What the hell is wrong with this idiot?
You cannot say that it is barbaric. It is not.
No, Maope, don't get me wrong. I lived in the Arab world. I lived in Tunis. I traveled through Egypt, through Morocco. I supervised projects in those countries. I speak some Arabic myself. And Wahhabi Islam is not universal Islam. It is Islam particular to a part of the world. It is not the same as Turkey. You go to Turkey and you feel that you are among civilized people. When you go to Saudi Arabia, you feel you are among barbarians. I'm sorry. That is what I will never regret those words.
Great to have you, Michael Friedman. Shalom, shalom, at a time like this. Michael, I'd like to ask you, is this war justified because the fight is against Iran having nuclear weapons and having nuclear proliferations? But according to the Federation of American Scientists, Center for Arms Control, Spirit, Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, account of Mordecai Vanun, CIA reports, US assessments in the 60s, goes on and on and on, and the joint, action between South Africa and Israel. All of these reports point towards Israel having a nuclear weapon. Israel keeps denying, but all these reports point towards having Israel having a nuclear weapon. They will not open themselves up for IAEA inspections and the likes. Why are you justifying stopping Iranian nuclear program when you have these nuclear weapons? Is it justified?
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me on the show this morning. Look, for 47 years, Iran has had a policy of death to Israel, death to America. Its entire apparatus, its state structure has been sponsoring terrorism, sponsoring organizations around the world to kill Israelis, to kill Jews, to spread terror. And we've seen Iran spreading terror. We've seen them developing a ballistic missile program, and we've seen them develop a nuclear program. And when a country says that they want to destroy you, death to Israel, death to America, and they are trying to build a nuclear weapon, it's absolutely justified. Not only is it justified, it's a moral obligation for a country to take the action that is needed to stop the country, in this case Iran, who wants to destroy Israel. Iran has said they want to destroy Israel, and Iran is building a nuclear weapon to do that. Cannot allow that to happen. And so this is the most justified war in order to stop these people from developing a weapon in order for them to wipe us off the face of the earth.
You sidestepped my question, Ambassador. I asked you pointedly. Israel has a nuclear weapon. Iran is trying to build one. Is it justified to take away Iran's ability to build a nuclear weapon when Israel has one? If we want truly a nuclear-free world, why can't all of us just drop our nuclear weapons like South Africa stopped their own nuclear weapons program? So you have the nuclear weapon. You don't want Iran to have it. Is it justified what you're doing?
Well, firstly, Israel has never said that we have nuclear weapons. That's your statement. Israel's policy has always been that we won't be the first country to introduce nuclear weapons into the region. But the issue here is not about Israel. The issue here is about Iran. Iran is the only country in the world, in the United Nations, who expressly desires to wipe another country off the face of the earth. Iran has stated its very policy is to destroy Israel, is to wipe Israel off the map, is to make sure they kill every single person. And no regime, no country that has an express desire to destroy Israel, and it's not only an express desire, we've seen over 47 years they've taken all the actions they can in order for that to happen. We've seen them sponsor terror organizations. They were behind October the 7th massacre of Hamas. We've seen them sponsoring Hezbollah. We've seen them acting in Europe. We've seen them acting in Australia. We've seen them acting in Nigeria. We've seen these people acting all across the world in order to spread disturbance, for them to try and carry out their aim of destroying Israel. And Israel will not allow another country to have nuclear weapons when they've expressly stated they want those weapons to destroy Israel.
But Israel is not a saint to themselves, because for all the terror you say Iran has carried out, Israel has also carried out that level of terror. And by one stretch, you've gone ahead to kill the supreme leader in Iran. So Israel too is not a saint in all of this. I yield the floor to you.
That's an absurd statement to make. Nigeria is the one. Nigeria has been on the receiving end of terrorism from Iran. We've seen Iran spreading terror throughout the world. Iran sponsors all of the major terror organizations in the world. If we look at Hamas, if we look at Hezbollah, if we look at the Houthis, if we look at the terror groups within Iraq, if we look at some of the other groups around the world, we have seen Iran carry out terror bombings in Argentina, where it blew up the Jewish community there. We've seen them carry out terror attacks in Bulgaria. We've seen them carry out terror attacks in the UK. We've seen them carry out attempted attacks in Australia. This is a country that sponsors terror, that is Revolutionary Guard, is a proscribed terror group across all of Europe and many other countries around the world. It's quite clear that Iran is a nation, as an international sponsor of terror, and to make any other accusation or any other claim is absurd. And I would also add as one sentence, which we kind of forget, that less than 2 months ago, there were millions of people protesting against the Iranian regime, Iranians, who said we're not happy with what's going on in the country. And the Iranian regime's response was to gun them down and to massacre them. And anywhere between 30 and 70,000 Iranians were shot dead for purely saying that they weren't happy with their government.
Nations are saying that the numbers being quoted by the United States are inflated, that those were people who were planted. In fact, there are some reports that are saying that those protests were led by proxy, but that the Iranians themselves, who are indoctrinated into this theocracy, support Khamenei and the current leadership, as we saw when they came out to mourn him when news of his death came out.
Well, actually, what we saw on television were spontaneous shows of delight and happiness, and Iranians coming out on the street. They were letting off fireworks, they were cheering, they were dancing. We've seen Iranian communities that are really free around the world, all across the world, coming out and supporting this and saying they want a better future. But the issue here again, and this is Iranian propaganda, that no credible organization, no credible human rights or other organization claims that there were less than 30,000 Iranians that were massacred. Everybody accepts that the Iranian regime massacred its people. The exact number no one knows, but the estimate ranges from 30,000 to 70,000. These were spontaneous protests, and the Iranian regime massacred them. And that's the issue here. The issue is that this regime is not only massacring its own people, but we've now seen what it's doing in the region. And you mentioned this on your show earlier. They've fired rockets at Turkey. They've now fired at Azerbaijan. They've fired at Kuwait. They've fired at Saudi Arabia, at Qatar, at the United Arab Emirates. They are fired at Saudi Arabia. This is an Iranian regime that is destabilizing the entire region. Iran is destabilizing, is causing major problems, and that is the reason that this Iranian regime is an illegitimate regime that is building weapons of mass destruction, that is building a missile system to terrorize the region. And we've seen they're extending their range of their missiles to Europe now to try and attack Europe and to further places as well. This is a dangerous regime that is spreading instability, that for 47 years, its entire raison d'etre has been, according to them, death to America, death to Israel. And therefore, the action that's being taken both by America and by Israel in this operation is to make sure that they cannot carry out their death to Israel, death to America.
Okay. I mean, Ambassador, I will not expect you to come here to accept that Israel has nuclear weapons without giving you the fact, but it's for you to deflect. Also, you were talking about Israel being a saint in all of this. I mean, we can go back historically, and I can tell you about the King David Hotel bombings, Argon and Shargon, and all the other atrocities. Even Gaza here, that Israel first denied the number of people killed in Gaza. Finally, they accepted the number. At first, they first said the numbers from the Gaza Health Ministry was wrong. Finally, they came around. Even what they're doing in the West Bank and all of that. And a lot of crimes, you know. The Israeli army is being investigated for a lot of crimes. And we all know that. So if you think Israel is a saint, I mean, it's your...
Hold on a minute.
Let me finish. Do not interrupt me, Ambassador. Let me finish, all right? So you can go ahead and claim all of that. But the interesting part is also the hypocrisy I see. Only last year, when you had a 12-day war, you said, I mean, the words of Donald Trump and Israel allies, they had obliterated the nuclear program in Iran. So if the claim then is that it's been obliterated, the question is, why are you still saying they will build nuclear weapon? Is it that the obliteration was not obliterated enough, or you want to re-obliterate the obliteration? That's part of the hypocrisy. Please answer that, Ambassador.
Well, before I go on to the second part, I mean, really, some of the statements that you made in the beginning were outrageous and were absolutely based on no fact. To make some of these claims, for example, Israel still disputes the number of people that the Gaza Health Ministry, or in other words, Hamas, claim about Gaza. We absolutely do not accept those figures. I know there were reports in the paper that we did. That's just not true. And I can state that categorically now. And again, in that very complex war that the context of is, of course, that Hamas, sponsored by Iran, came across the border with thousands of terrorists, murdered, raped, tortured, and kidnapped thousands of Israelis. They murdered thousands of Israelis and kidnapped over 250 men, women, children, and babies, innocent civilians. That was the response that Israel responded to that, like any other country, to defend ourselves. And in the course of a war is horrible, war is terrible. There were numbers of people killed within Gaza. I'm quite sure that there were civilians that were killed as well, and the death of any civilian is a tragedy. It doesn't matter which side those civilians were on. But we believe that the vast significant numbers within those were terrorists that were killed. And when we compare this to Mosul, or we compare this to Afghanistan, or we compare this to other combat that took place within built-up areas, you will find that Israel acted with more restraint and was the ratio between combatant terrorists and civilian deaths was the lowest that there's ever been. But that's a different conversation that we're not having. Your question was about the 12-day war. And you're right, in the 12-day war, Israel and America destroyed and set back, rather, Iran's nuclear program. But over the last less than a year, Iran and the Iranian leadership, when Iran has no water, the people in Tehran haven't got water. They are dealing with one of the worst economic crises they've ever had. The Iranian leadership decided they were going to invest $1 billion, $1 billion with a B, into building a new nuclear program and investing in restarting and rebuilding their nuclear program by digging deeper under the ground, by looking to enrich uranium even further, by developing their missile program and their ballistic missile program. And in all of the negotiations negotiations with the Americans, the Iranians made very clear they were not prepared at any point to give up nuclear enrichment. They were not prepared to give up their ballistic missile program, and they were not prepared to stop sponsoring terror organizations throughout the region and throughout the world. And if you're in negotiations and one side says, well, I'm not prepared to even enter the conversation with you, then the negotiations end. And that's what happened. There was an attempt to negotiate with Iran. Iran refused to negotiate. They invested $1 billion into rebuilding their nuclear program. And so we've taken this action. If since June, the June war that you spoke about, the 12-day war that you spoke about, if Iran would have instead invested that $1 billion into its people, into its water structure, into the benefit of its civilians, rather than investing it in a nuclear program, rather than investing it in terrorists, rather than investing it in missiles, then we wouldn't be in this position that we're in today. But Iran chose over the last number of months to invest in destroying Israel and not invest in trying to help its own people.
In this interview, you had alluded to sort of the impact that Iran has had on the African continent and specifically on Nigeria. The axis of resistance is very well documented, which is Hezbollah, Houthis, and Hamas. I'd love for you to give us, some of the insight that you have with regards to Iranian influence in Nigerian terrorism, and subsequently, of course, we know that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had spoken about our insecurity challenges here. So is Israel also looking to join the effort that is being made by the United States with regards to joining the fight against terrorism in Nigeria?
Well, those are two very different
they are.
but I'll answer both of them. But on the first one regarding Iranian involvement in Nigeria, I think that is well documented. We know that there are certain movements, for example, the Islamic movement of Nigeria is sponsored and is backed by the Iranian regime. This is not me saying this. We've seen that documented by the Iranian regime. Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader, posted on X his support and his backing and on there. So that's very open. And there are other areas as well that Iran is working for destabilizing not only Nigeria, but all of West Africa.
Yes, that is correct.
But apart from that, on your second question, Nigeria and Israel are strong allies, are strong friends. We work together on many areas. And as Prime Minister Netanyahu said, we are willing and we are eager to partner with Nigeria according to Nigeria's needs and according to Nigeria's desires in order to help tackle instability within Nigeria, again, according to Nigerian needs and Nigerian desires and wishes.
Oh, thank you very much for your time.
All right. You had that.
Ambassador of Israel to Nigeria. Great to have you, Michael Friedman. Shalom, shalom. At a time.
Okay, I'm done with
like
that.
This.
I'm done with this. Yeah, Hosseini. Sometimes these guys, I get sick. See the kind of questions especially Rufai was posing to this guy. He's not bold enough to ask these tough questions to the Satan in Sokoto. He's not able to ask Ahmad Gumi this question, a guy who is supposed to be arrested now and perhaps roasted for crime against humanity. Proven. And they don't go beyond this, their armchair reporting, to go to the east of Nigeria to see the mayhem that is going on there. All the Nigerian mainstream media is blacked out. I went into Ihube, yes, in Imo State, in Okigwe area, to unearth what the Nigerian mainstream media is refusing to do, because either they have been paid off or because they work with the system to keep their licenses. They turn blind eyes to all this. They are more interested in reporting about Iran, and they don't report about what Iran is aiding and abetting in Nigeria. Shame on the mainstream media of Nigeria. And this is why we are coming with this alternative ONN. So if you are here for the very first time, we welcome you. Yes, we welcome you to join us. Subscribe to our channel, because the truth is that we want to be that alternative, not just only in Nigeria, in Africa, and perhaps the world. To tackle the underreporting of serious issues the way they ought to be reported. That is why we differ. We thank all those who have joined us so far, and I hope that as you are joining, you are subscribing. And then if you like what we are doing right here, please, there's nothing, it doesn't harm. It helps us when you like our broadcast, when you like our stream. It helps YouTube recommend our channel to more people from around the world. So if you are just joining now, or you have been listening to this broadcast, please give us a like, give us a like, give us a share, and then share your opinion. Let us hear from you what you feel about this vexatious issue, especially how it is the business of Africans, to the extent that they are protesting and some destroying property in Nigeria. Why are Nigerians protesting the killing of a rogue? The man who has never hidden that he's a rogue. He sponsors terrorism everywhere. It's known. It's a globally known thing. And then why are Nigerians protesting? Honestly, why? What is the reason? Is Nigeria an Islamic country? Definitely no. Do they want to make Nigeria an Islamic country? And the champion of that movement is Iran. I am so happy that he is gone. And my support goes to the United States for everything they have done so far. Things that others refuse to do. Yes, Donald Trump came and did that. Yes, this is one area where I love what Donald Trump is doing. After Iran, it should be Nigeria. Because if the job is done in Iran, I'm seeing their extremists are everywhere in Nigeria. Well trained, well armed. If the job in Nigeria is not done, it's as good as nothing has been done. So the United States, we don't have a government in Nigeria that can stand up for the Nigerian people. Just yesterday, 50 military soldiers were murdered. Yes, in a village in Nigeria. Murdered. 50 of them, 50 supposed Nigerian soldiers, even if they are not fighting for Nigeria. Look at this idiot. He said, you fight Almighty Allah when you fight Boko Haram. That is the Satan in Sokoto. The man with that kind of a stupid ideology, what are you going to tell him? He's not an African, even though he has a black skin. That's the problem we are having. They have black skin color, but their mind is Arabic, their mind is extremism. They are not Africans. So ordinary Nigerians, the people from Africa, you should know that these people are not like us. They are inhumane, they are savage, they are wicked, they are evil. All they want is to take control of Nigeria's economic resources and run the thing. Listen, I remind you, their mission is just beyond Nigeria. They want to take over the West African sub-region. And then when they have the West African sub-region, that is where the powerhouse of Africa is. And they will take on the whole of Africa. Then the man in South Africa is busy fooling himself, talking about influencing a useless African Union, just as useless as the United Nations, to describe Israel as a terrorist state. You are not talking about what is taking place. What have you done? Which African Union? African Union that cannot build its own secretariat. Their secretariat was built and handed over to them by China. They can't fund anything. People who take the budgets of their various countries and put them in their pockets have no moral ground to come and stand and talk about it. What has African Union achieved? With the exception of what Emperor Haile Selassie, Kwame Nkrumah, and the rest of them, that very strategic, historic move that they made, it ended there. Successive African leaders, what did they do for the continent? They sold us off. And then some people tell me, oh, you are a Pan-Africanist, you are supporting the United States, in doing what they are doing in Nigeria. Yes, we are now in a vicious cycle. Why will I close my eyes and allow Arabs in black skin to kill my brothers and sisters, indigenous people of Africa, including Muslims among them. They destroy them. You want me to close my eye in the name of Pan-Africanism, and then I am accepting what they are doing or be on the same side with them? No, I'm not going to be on that same side. So it is until I get that access to doing what I want to do with Pan-Africanism, we are not going to get there. No Pan-African has had access to leadership. Maybe perhaps those first line of Kwame Nkrumah and the rest of them, Lumumba. Then after that, it has always been puppets. Walk from one puppet to another. Can you imagine 5 Nigerian presidential candidates going to Chatham House to read their manifestos in an election that is supposed to be held in Nigeria? Is that not shameful? Yeah, does that make us look like we are free people? Do any of them know anything about Pan-Africanism? No, they talk about economy. How are you tying your economic policies or your idea of economic policies to your Pan-Africanism? They know absolutely nothing. Majority of them don't know the history of Africa and why Africa is where it is. They don't know that Africa went through slavery. They didn't know that Africa went through colonialism. Yes, they didn't know that Africa had imperialism problem. They didn't know that Africa suffered apartheid. These people, idiot group of them in Nigeria who wants to lead Nigeria. On what basis are you leading Nigeria? The Pan-Africanists are shut out of it. At the political party levels in Nigeria, when you have an idea that is alternative to the darkness that they have, they shut you out. They shut you out, first of all, by making the cost of buying the goddamn piece of shit that they call a political parties form, nomination form. They shoot it out of your range. So it is only for criminals, those who have stolen. They are the only ones who can be candidates in election, and our foolish people are turned here left and right like cattle, and they vote, and votes don't count. And look at where we are. A drug dealer is the president of Nigeria. A certificate forger is the president of Nigeria. An identity thief is a president of Nigeria. His vice president is a terrorist with ties to Boko Haram. Tell me why that country should move forward. Honestly, can you tell me why that country should move forward? And they say our country is supposed to be the giant of Africa. How a giant that is not even able to lift his leg, able to lead the rest of Africa? It's impossible. And this is why we need something new. This is why we need something different. Yes. Look at this image. That's the image of an armored car. Yesterday, a country that has an armed forces. Yesterday, terrorists destroyed the armored car, killed 40, or was it 50 soldiers? Yes. And you know the Nigerian army Nigerian military is gone. It's been gone. We are wasting time talking about Nigerian military. Where is the Nigerian military? It is gone. Nigeria has no military. Command and control infrastructural positions are in the hands of people with sympathy to terrorists. And you are telling me about Nigerian military. Where is it? I want to be shown where the Nigerian military. That's why they don't have that operational capability to fight. If Nigeria has had an army or a military, what is in that bush that the people, those soldiers cannot go into the bush to flush? There are terrorists in the Nigerian army, armed to the tooth with Nigerian resources. When they are in combat operation, they turn their arms against those who are supposed to be fighting for the country. They give the terrorists information about their locations. You saw how a major general was murdered. He was calling for help. He gave out his location to his peers, who told the terrorists where he was, and they killed him. Nigeria doesn't have a military that can fight. It does not. So that is why if the United States wants to truly help Nigeria, they must do the same thing that they are doing in Iran right now. Total eclipse. If you rely on the Nigerian army, no matter how much you train them, Some of those people you are training are terrorists that will use your training for something else. Nigeria needs a clean up. The people have been made so poor. A revolution would have been the best, but Nigerians don't have the spine to stand up and revolt. Efforts have been made in the past. Corruption at the grassroots level. A young Nigerian that you are telling his future is in danger, when you tell him that it's time to rise up, he will expect you to pay him money before he can move. And then if you give him money, the money will not last but a day. He's tired and he goes back. They prefer to travel, to trek across the Sahara into Libya, where they are traded like commodities, and then ride on raft boat across the wild Mediterranean to get into Italy, where they are kept in concentration camp and fed dog food. That is the ambition of every young Nigerian, for the most part. Only a few of them are conscious enough about what is taking place in their country. It's a hopeless situation, really very, very hopeless. The only way, if the United States is serious about cleaning out and bringing security and safety and stability to that Middle East and Africa, they must expand this mission. They must expand this mission. They must get with those who truly want to build those nations in Africa and everywhere. They are everywhere. Align with them and then train them, arm them to fight these people. These people are on a mission to take Nigeria. They are on a mission to take West Africa. They are on a mission to take the entire African continent. And we must not allow them. Yes, what they are doing in Nigeria, they did in Central African Republic. But those people were able, when after they suffered them for a very long time, they decided that they wanted their country. And they went and did what they had to do to chase them out of their country. They chased them out of, that was 2013. When they moved them out of that place, what did they do? They moved into Mauritania. As we speak, majority of the black people, original Africans in Mauritania, have been driven out of their country. And you know the name of Mauritania now? Islamic Republic of Mauritania. It never was Islamic Republic of Mauritania. What we knew then was Mauritania. Yes, but right now, Mauritania is gone. They are moving downwards. They are in Mali. They are the ones causing the trouble in Mali. In Niger, they are the ones causing the trouble in Niger. In Sudan, they are in there. In Burkina Faso, it is there. Yes, and now, recently, they have started rearing their ugly heads in Ghana. Yes, it's a mission. This is not a joke. And our indigenous people have been sleeping for a very long time. And if anybody thinks that this is just a Nigerian problem, you'll be joking. So there is need for a sub-regional cooperation to halt the movement of these criminals. They are on a dangerous mission. And we know some of the countries who aid them. Iran is number one. China is involved. France is involved. I heard what that idiot for France, Macron, said, the statement he made. Yes. So that is where the trouble is. So my problem is Iran is being attacked. So what is the business of an African? An African that has not been able to recover from the effects of slavery. Who knows how, if ever, we are going to ever recover from it. The African that has not been able to recover from the effects of colonialism. Yes, the effects of imperialism, apartheid, and now globalization, which is a certificate of occupancy for those who want to occupy Africa. You are not thinking about that. You are stupid. And you are protesting that somebody killed a criminal. You should be celebrating. His own people are celebrating that an obstacle has been removed out of their lives. And you damn stupid Africans are protesting. Protesting for what? Ignorance. You are stupid. Yes. Why are you protesting? What is your business? Your economy is worse on earth. Even though your continent is the richest continent on earth, you have not been able to find the reason why you live below poverty line. You are protesting for Iran. You are mad. You are mad. Even those with PhD will come to the national television to defend the nonsense. Wow. 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 Anyway, before I go further, let us hear President Donald Trump's briefing on where the war is right now. All right, over.
But it's going very well. Sit down, please. And tremendous progress has been made, as you're probably seeing just by watching. We're doing something. I built the military and rebuilt it and made it really strong in my first administration, along with a lot of other things we did. We had a great first term. And now we're using it. Unfortunately, we have to. But you're seeing how great it is. There's no military like it on Earth, not even close. And we're doing very well in Iran. You see the result. And it's been amazing. We've knocked out 42 Navy ships, some of them very large, in 3 days. That was the end of the Navy. We knocked out their Air Force. We knocked out their communications, and all telecommunications is gone. I don't know how they communicate, but I guess they will figure something out. It's not working out too well. And they're bad people. They're just bad people. When you look at October 7th and beyond October 7th, look at all the killing that they've done over the years, for 47 years. And this had to be done. They were very close to a nuclear weapon. They would have had one if we didn't do our B-2 hit, Midnight Hammer. They would have had it 8 months ago. They would have had a nuclear weapon, and, they're crazy, and they would have used it. So we did the world a favor. And they said, well, how are you doing on a scale of 0 to 10? How are you doing with the attack? And I said, about a 15, I would say, with 10 being the best. But it's something that had to be done, and we're doing it well. And I want to thank everybody involved. I'll be going right after this. I'll be leaving for Dover, very sad situation, to greet the families of the heroes coming home from Iran, coming home in a different manner than they thought they'd be coming home. But they're great heroes in our country, and we're going to keep it that way. There's always, when it comes to war, there's always that. We're going to keep it to a minimum, I think, Pete, and going to be something, a service that we're really providing, not for the Middle East, but for the world. These were sick people, very sick people. This morning, I'm honored to welcome distinguished heads of state from across the West.
All right, that was President Donald Trump addressing the American Hemisphere heads of state, and then he gave an update on what is taking place in Iran. Yes, it might look. He did. The United States is the only country that can do this. They are doing the world right now a great favor. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says. It would have been worse if Joe Biden was president or Kamala Harris. Yes, they'll be making all these people, allowing them to incubate and get more deadly until nobody can do anything. And so sad too about the United Nations, the worst organization on earth. Terrible organization, terrible United Nations. What are they united for? Yes, so I appreciate America's unilateral action. Waiting for a damn stupid organization that cannot stand up and get anything done. Unjust. Yes, and the world is suffering. People, the same United Nations that were there when millions of Rwandese were murdered, massacred. They did not do a damn thing. They were playing politics. And when you send them out, they go there and start trading mineral. Look at what they did in Congo. Yes. So this decisive action by President Donald Trump is historically appreciated. Again, President Trump, I am calling on you. Do not. This job will not be through. It will not be finished until something is done about Nigeria. the world will not be peaceful until the Nigerian angle is taken care of. I am making this passionate plea to you. I know it is expensive. Yes, it is expensive. Nigeria has no leadership right now. You know Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You have his dossier right here at the tip of your finger. He was a criminal here who was taken through trial for drug dealing. He's a drug dealer. He's as bad as Maduro, if not even worse. Yes, Escobar, we call him in Nigeria. He's a criminal. You have no even business dealing with him in the first place. Anything Bola Ahmed Tinubu tells you is a lie. Don't rely on him at all if you want to make any success in Nigeria. His national security advisor is sympathetic to terrorists. Yes, he arms terrorists. He's a junior minister of defense, is a terrorist. His vice president is a terrorist. Most members of his cabinet are all criminals. Some of the state governors in Nigeria are people who have stolen and went through the jail system here. The governor of Ogun State, governor of Lagos State, and the rest of them. They were his drug boys. Yes, so nothing will be done unless you take a decisive action. His wife is a pathological liar. He came from Nigeria to meet you here. I don't know somehow you met him, and they turned that into a big deal. What is the big deal? Yes, that a criminal came to meet a president of the United States of America. Yes, so they are making a huge, big deal out of that. But President Donald Trump will know you for who you are. When you want to do anything, you come out and get it done. You are not a politician. You have demonstrated that you are not a typical politician who will make what is bad look good. Evil is in Nigeria right now. Evil is in charge at all levels and in all sectors of Nigeria's life. If you love Nigeria, as we believe that a lot of Nigerians believe that you do, you must extend, go beyond sending 200 troops to Nigeria. Nigeria should be overrun right now. And if we don't overrun those terrorists, we are not going to get, we will continue staying here on that recurring decimal. That Sharia has to go down. Yeah, that Sharia has to go down. The evil man who allowed them to start the Sharia crap, General Olusegun Obasanjo, he's still alive and he's still running his mouth. Instead of coming to apologize to the people of Nigeria, he was the one who gave them the leeway. We warned him ahead of this whole thing. He wasn't listening. Yeah, because he was a maximum leader. He thought he knew more than the whole of Nigeria. Look at what he put the country into right now. So we have to fight. We have to fight to stop that nonsense. Yes, we are a secular state. There are no more Muslims in Nigeria than other people. We are African people. Who cares about anybody's religion in the first place? I've lived here for 30 years. I have a lot of friends who are Muslims. They don't trouble me, and I don't trouble them. And nobody troubles anybody. Nobody brings their religion and put it in the face of anyone. Nobody cares to be identified as a Muslim or as a Christian. Nobody. People here are identified for who they are. They are identified as Americans. They don't identify themselves as Southerners or Northerners. They respect their country. If you are from Ohio, you are from Ohio. If you are from Oklahoma, you are from Oklahoma. Those who come from California, they address themselves. But in all, we are Americans. That is what it is. But in Nigeria, people are divided along religious background. I'm a Muslim. I'm a Christian. Who cares? And the majority of them are hypocrites. They don't know God. They don't know God. They don't even worship God. They don't care. They are political Christians and political Muslims. We are tired of them. We don't want them anymore. We don't want that anymore. We want our country, our people to be defined as citizens and not by their religion or by their regions. Who cares? So that's what we want. So President Trump, truly, yes, we appreciate your remarkable effort and the impact your speeches are making on Nigeria. Every speech you make and refer to Nigeria resonates with the ordinary person living in Nigeria. Nigerians are peace-loving people. Yeah, we are hardworking people. I'm sure you know, you've come across a lot of Nigerians, hardworking people. We are not crooked. The crooked people are in charge, and they are the ones who give us the bad name that we have. We are tired. We are tired of them. Yes, a country that cannot count itself, a country that cannot organize a simple election. So don't let no one fool you. So you got to do a great job. And again, in Iran, the United States must do a great job. Do not leave Iran worse than it was before this invasion. Yes, we should not repeat what we did in Iraq. We must leave the country stable, put the country in the hands of those who love the country and who are willing to do great things for their country. Yes, and we don't like China. Truly, I don't want to see China in Nigeria. They represent no good. They come to destroy our environment. They all are voraciously looking for our minerals. Yes, they lend our country's money. Our countries are in debt overhang to China. You can't pay them their debt. We don't want them. I'm not a fan of China. They are not doing us any good. Yes, so we have suffered enough as a people. So you damn African, you damn stupid Nigerian who is protesting in support of Iran, you are a bastard. You are not Nigerian. I think you should go and look for your countries. Yes, if you are Nigerians, you should be looking at Nigeria, looking at all the troubles that we have. You should be looking at our economy. Why is our economy the worst in Africa? Yes. Why is it that our hospital systems are not working? Why is it that our educational systems don't work? Why is it that our infrastructures are the worst? Why is it that criminals lead you? Why is it that you, from Delta State, where I come from, you, a man who stole 1.3 trillion naira from you, you want to support him to go to the Senate? Shame, shame, shame on you. Yes, and all the young people in Nigeria who are not waking up, who are not asking questions, who are not looking at what the Nepalese youths did, by bringing their country's leadership and tossing them away because they have not been good to them. And all other countries where the young people stood up for themselves, stood up for their generation, and stood up for their future. Yes, you see them. Nigerian youths, it is time. Where are the remnants, the ones that are good? It's time. We have to, up our work. We need to work more, work harder to stop the nonsense going on. Me, I am not for election in 2027. Yes, I am not, because if allowed, these same criminals will do the same thing. But I want to remind you that the fraud, the electoral fraud that they talk about in Nigeria, is not just with the INEC. It starts at the political party level. So if we want to do electoral reform, we must start from the political party level before we get to INEC. INEC is just a finisher. INEC is just, they do a little bit, but 99% of the evil is perfected at the political party level. Now you ask a question, why is it that someone like me cannot go into Nigeria, run for an election and win? Yeah, you know that I love the country. You know that if I find my place as a governor, as president, that I will do great. I will do well for the country. But you are recruited to stop me. You should be asking yourself that question. Why is it that the young Nigerians are so corrupt? Yes, you have eaten the fruit of Babylon from the people you look up to for leadership. And your country is going down the drain. You see it every day. You see it in your inability to purchase anything. You see it in your inability to find a job after you graduate from school. You are not supposed to be riding Okada. Yes, it's not anybody that did it. The political leaders you choose, the terrible leadership, everything that has happened to Nigeria is pointed to the tragedy of leadership in that country that you support. Yes, I'm talking about you young people. You support them. Yes, some of you are now shouting, lining behind Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You sing that on his goddamn rotten drug mandate that you stand, right? And some of you are running after Oko and Oboriwori in Delta. Yes, looking at how they have run your country down. And you are not ashamed of yourself. I'm telling you, I don't want to tell you what you want to hear. As always, I love you. That is why not many people speak these truths. This Fulani madness in Nigeria has to come to an end. And it's going to take you, like it took the young people in Central African Republic who had it and said, we are tired, and they woke up and went after those people who were destroying their country. They sacked them and they ran away. So there's nothing wrong in replicating it. They have no right to come and invade us violently and expect us not to respond. Self-defense Self-defense is a universal doctrine. Fight back like never before. They have no right to come and invade you. If they are emboldened because they know you cannot fight back. That is why. So if you are from any community, go back there and reinforce now. Bola Ahmed Tinubu says he's giving you state police. State police is as useless as his federal police. What will work best for the people of Nigeria is community policing. Community policing. Community, you are from a community, if like your hometown, should have its own police. That is what it is here in the United States. Every little community has their own police, and their crime is effectively controlled because everybody knows everybody. And then when they see strange faces in their community, they network, and then before you know, they are asking these people questions. Why are you here? What is your business being here? I have been asked here when I travel to some places, remote places in the United States. They have not seen people like me. They check me out. Yes, they ask me questions. There's nothing wrong. It's not discrimination. They want to be safe. They want to be free. They want to ensure that those who come into their communities are those who do not come to hurt them. So, community policing. Now, somebody asked me about how it will work. If you create this state police, like Tinubu is trying to sell to you, you know what is the only thing that will change? The command infrastructure. Your corrupt governors will be in charge of the state police, right? They are not fair. They will corner them and start using them against opponents. And crime will not be fought. They will divert their attention of the policing outfit. But if it is a community police, everybody knows everybody. And the people have a common destiny that they want to protect and defend. They will not play politics with it. Because security is something that everybody needs. So you don't play games with it. Yes, you will recruit the best people that you know have integrity, people of character, will be the ones driving the force. Yes, and then everybody. And one thing that must never be allowed to happen is that those community policing or police should never be under the control of any traditional ruler. No, they are bad. So it's going to be under the people. So you create a community, yes, that will be able to monitor what they are doing. If a police officer from your hometown, you know him, you know his father, you know his mother, comes and start asking you for bribe that you should not give to him, you know there's a way of reporting them, the community will take action. See, that's the beauty of this whole thing. So we put the emotion of protecting ourselves into it as opposed to what the governor will do. Yes, the governor will say, deploy these people here to kill his opponent. Please, don't accept that bullshit. It is community policing. And then how will it be funded? If they disband the current federal police, it's all the money that they have been using. They will create a new budget for the community police in Nigeria, a special budget for it. All the money that they were sending to fund this useless federal policing system should be used to fund the local community police. So at zero cost to the community. And the locals, the communities themselves will be the ones who will be controlling the police, not the federal. All we need from the federal is the money. Give us the money, we'll take care of our security situation in our place. And I tell you, once that is done, there will be no Boko Haram. Nobody will have that audacity to travel from wherever he comes from, whether from Mali, from where, to come to my hometown, to want to shoot up the place and get away free. No, we will specially train them, we will specially arm them and make them functional as a true policing outfit. And this whole problem will be solved. So it's a pleasure. It's been such a pleasure being with you guys. And I want more of you. I thank all those who joined us today, to be part of this conversation, that we should stop being stupid as Africans. Yes, stop this alliance with a foreign crap that comes to steal from you. I don't care which religion whatever you do with them. Leave it at that. They are not good. Everybody who has come into Africa has come with interest to steal from Africa. But we can deal with those who can steal a little bit and give us some and not the ones who will take everything, arm us to kill ourselves, and then take everything from us. We are tired of this. It's time we should start asking ourselves very, very serious questions. And this moment is it. Nigeria can be a great country if we all turn around and start loving the country. The problem Nigeria has is that its people don't love that country. They don't love the country. They don't understand that they have a stake in the life of the country. And they keep quiet while a few people are destroying it. Yes, they keep quiet. Everybody keeps quiet. So when a people keeps quiet, their country suffers. Bye for now. And again, for those of you who joined us for the very first time, we hope you subscribe to our channel and give us a like if you love what we just did this evening. Bye for now. Love you guys.